A super day here at the races at the Singapore Turf Club. Hello and welcome to Horse Sense, brought to you by Premier Racing Partnerships. And this evening is all about Premier Racing Partnerships, because if you take a look just behind me, most of Premier Racing Partnership owners are here tonight in numbers to celebrate the sponsorship of the Premier Racing Partnership Stakes and a number of their horses going around in some of the races. I'll tell you, it's an evening not only about racing, it's an evening about style, grace, glamour, and of course, lots of fun. The Singapore Turf Club was abuzz with activity on the 19th of September as Premier Racing Partnerships looked all set to host their guests at the Singapore Turf Club for their sponsored race, the Premier Racing Partnership Stakes. Premier Racing Partnerships, which is Wade Burridge's brainchild, is Singapore's fastest growing thoroughbred racing and social syndicate. They have had over 300 winners so far and over $4 million in prize money.
Well, look, Premier Racing started 3 years ago. We started with 7 owners. We're now, I think we're at 727 in 3 years as of today. We've had a great results on the track. We've had many winners. But I think the greatest thing about what we do is we bring people together. People from Australia here tonight to watch Singapore racing. And Singapore's got one of the best products in the world. We've got the best prize money, cap training fees. It's such a hard place to beat. And to be honest, being able to advertise what Singapore Turf Club have got under Premier Racing banner, we couldn't be more happier. And as you can see by tonight, we've got nearly 300 people here. We've got 48 people on a tour from Australia, all about tonight and what the F1's going to bring for the weekend. So look, racing's about bringing people together. It's about having fun. And look, racing's changing in Singapore for the better. And Premier Racing's just happy that we're a part of it.
Owning a horse can be fun or can be serious. Wade Burridge has created a team that clearly separates these two objectives.
When we first started, it was just a bit of a laugh between a mate of mine, Craig Geeman, who's my business partner in Premier Racing Partnerships, and it was actually over a game of golf that we decided to start it. And in Australia, it's very famous. For here, changing a culture is probably the hardest thing. So you will see a lot of our owners are expats. I've got a lot of individual owners that are locals, but trying to get them to change to not be in racing just to bet or gamble, but to be in racing for the prestige of being out there and what's on show. That's what racing's about to us. We video track work, we video what the jockeys say when they get off the horse. So to be an owner in Premier Racing, you get everything. You really do. Like outside winning races, you got great parties. We're going to Wimbledon next year. We're going to Royal Ascot with our owners. So for all of that, it's fantastic, and that's what we're all about. One of our other bloodstock agents, Josh McLaughlin, he's come here from Australia, gave up his job in Australia to come here and make a go of it, and he's done a fantastic job. He would have brought on over 150 owners in a space of 14 months. So we're lucky to have guys like Josh. We're lucky to have guys like Craig who run the accounts and make sure all that's smooth. And for Premier Racing, the sky's the limit. We've got 37 horses under management, and we're only going to get bigger.
I grew up with horses, so I was born into a horse racing family, and I've known Wade for a long time, and the decision to come and be a part of this was an easy one, because when I was back in Australia and I was involved in horses, I was seeing what he was doing and what great movements were happening, and the opportunity in Singapore and abroad for owners to be involved in horses was the thing that really tied me to it. So although I still do a lot back in Australia, any opportunity I come to get over here, and I think that with the prize money and the movement that there is for Singapore racing to go forward far outweighs what it is in Australia at the moment.
Coming to the race day itself, Premier Racing Partnerships had many of their horses prepared specially for this important night. They started off with a bang when Breaking Walls won the first race of the evening, the Class 5, with Corey Brown on board. They were possibly unlucky 2 races later when Shipping Forecast got a troubled passage to fly home into second.
Oh, it's been great. Obviously we kicked off really, really well and should have been 2 for 2, but we're a little bit unlucky. But look, it's great. I can see what Wade's trying to do here. It's a great concept, and it's getting people that haven't been to the races before, getting them involved, and just to see how much fun they have. So it's really good, and I hope the day's gone well.
While victory and defeat saw spirits fluctuating, no one could deny that they were having a marvellous time at what was a red-letter day at the Singapore Turf Club.
Well, I think it's great to be here tonight. I've come here, and the last time that I was here to take over Target, won a race. But I think it's great to have people in racing getting together and understanding how you can actually connect with the community, even if it's a 5 or 10% share of a horse, and which is what I do in Melbourne, Australia, and Sydney. I'm a horse breeder. I own, part own a sire called Bel Esprit. Bel Esprit is a sire of Black Caviar. So I've been very, very lucky, fortunate. Had a lot of fun in racing without expending a lot of money. But I think racing brings men and women together and families. So the horse is a beautiful animal.
Coming to the racing, however, there were 7 contenders looking to win the Premier Racing Partnership Stakes to be run over 1200 meters. With the bonus up for grabs as well, Premier Racing Partnership threw in 2 of their horses, Exuberance and Rubicon, both whom were trained by Steve Burridge. PRP's favourite jockey Corey Brown was riding Exuberance, while Rubicon had Harry Cassim on his back. However, both would have to contend with the champion juvenile so far, a Fleck from Laurie Laxon's stable, who was not just the favourite to win this prize, but one who looked like he was getting better and better with each run. With Danny Beasley on his back, it would take a very good horse to beat him home. The other horses in the race were made up by Castor from David Cox Yard and Super Winner from Theo Keezers. While the former had Manuel Nunes in the saddle, Super Winner had KB Sue. Trainer ZL Mock's Lucky Giant was also in the race and had Oscar Chavez on board. And finally, it was Steve Burridge who had a third hand in this race with Great Balls of Fire with Alan Monroe in the saddle. It wasn't long before the horses left the starting gate and were loaded and ready to go.
All set and they're away and racing now in the Premier Racing Partnership Stakes, and Affleck has begun fairly well in the early stages, and a Lucky Giant in the pink colours is going through to lead the way from Affleck, who at the moment can't lead 1,000 metres out. Castor away safely, he's back into third, and then Super Winner, who settles down in fourth, and he follows Affleck in front of him. Further back behind those, Exuberance about 2 lengths away with Great Balls of Fire, and also Rubicon, who's settling down at the rear of the field. But Lucky Giant leads, heading down the side of the course. He's got to the hot favourite Affleck about 1.25 lengths away back in second. Castor third, then Super Winner, who continues to follow Affleck as they start to rev it up. 24.76 the first 400 now. Affleck is edging closer. Now further back, Exuberance with also Rubicon and Great Balls of Fire. Affleck, he cruises now. He goes up and grabs the front from Lucky Giant, put under a bit of pressure. Super Winner about 1.5 lengths away, given full bore. Then Castor, and further back, Exuberance out of the pack, going up fifth, but it's Affleck in front. 200 metres to go. He's shaken the other 3-year-olds off. Super Winner sticking to his guns, but he's too good again. It's Affleck in front. Super Winner, a brave run, then Castor, but it's Affleck who wins it and wins it well. Affleck by 2.
Yes, no, he's a lovely horse. He's very athletic, and he's got a good temperament about him, and I'm sure he'll go further.
Laurie, he's obviously still improving and there's plenty left in him. What are some of the targets you think you have in mind for him?
Well, he'll work his way up to the Singapore Guineas for the 3-year-olds, and whatever comes, I haven't actually had a close look at the program, but had to get this one out of the way first.
He's just a pleasure to ride. He just bounces quick, and he's nearly always the first out, and then he just cruises at any speed that you want him to go. He'll sit right on the speed, or sit back off him, and then he's got very good acceleration at the end of his race.
As expected, Affleck won the race with ease and took home the first running of this prestigious title. He had been a star performer for Laxon so far with 4 wins out of 5 races, with just a close second to Kiwi Karma in the Ozhorse Golden Horseshoe. He's a son of Battle Paint and has taken his winnings to over 300,000 Singapore dollars. It was a night that offered plenty to every guest who was there. For Premier Racing Partnerships, it was a coming of age. For their guests, it was a promise for more to come.
Unbelievable setup. It's the first time I've been to the Singapore Turf Club, and yeah, it's an amazing setup. I love the races back home, and couldn't happy to be here tonight with our Premier Racing.
I had a winner early with breaking bolts, and then shipping forecast was very, very unlucky, which got beaten like a neck and got checked about 200 out. So we had a good start to the day, but I think I've not had a winner since. So
it's a shame, but it's good to finally make it. It's great. But I did think actually I was going to see cars going around today. not a horse.
Very good, very organizing, and I'm having fun, and I'm doing a few bets. Good food, good drink, so it's good people, so I'm enjoying it. I'm from Brazil, so I haven't grown up with the horse racing, but it's fun. As soon you bet, make good fun. I love Singapore. Yeah, no, it's great. It's a great city. It's very cosmopolitan. It's very organized. Very green. Yeah, I love Singapore.
Yeah, well, it's the Premier Racing Partnerships evening tonight, so it's all about their horses, obviously, and they've had a really great start. The first race they won that, and then we've just watched the third race, and I think they got 2 in the top 3, so a top start for their company.
How are we enjoying it? We look like we're having fun, right? As we are.
It's really good. I love it. That's what I was telling my friend. I was like, wow, this is glam. Nice.